Today's video, guys, I'm gonna tell you how I got out of $20,000 worth of credit card debt. Welcome to the channel, guys. My name's Chris. This is a DIY tech channel, but we're also gonna start some financial videos as well. It's Saturday afternoon. Let's talk finances. I think more information that is out there is gonna help us rethink, because ultimately accumulating more debt or getting out of debt goes up here first. So we have to go ahead and reboot the main system and think differently about money and how we spend it. Debt and accumulation of debt and getting out of debt is mathematics. I hated math. I failed math in high school. Not really, but I got like a C. Never made it past pre-algebra. Anyway, I got my whiteboard here. Let's go ahead and begin. Now, the first question you're gonna ask yourself is, Chris, how in the world did you get into $20,000 worth of credit card debt? Not to mention your car as well. So in total, well over $25,000. My car's not very expensive. It was like $8,000. Pre-owned Fiat 500e, the electric one, little matchbox car that is now paid off as well. We'll get into that. Great car. So some of you might be looking at this number going, that's nothing. I have so much more, including my student loans. I'm over $100,000 in debt. I have this balance alone on one credit card. We're gonna walk you through this. We're gonna talk about the steps. Some of you guys might look at this number and go, that is insane. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm only $2,000 in credit card debt. Same methods apply, but obviously the numbers are gonna be different. So this number, $20,000, was accumulated multiple different ways. Now I have a detailed blog post about this as well at chrisbensberg.com. I'll go ahead and leave that in the description box below. So when I was living with my parents at home many years ago, I got myself into $10,000 worth of credit card debt. I got out of that, but then unfortunately jumped back in. We're gonna be concentrating on this number, and what's different this time around is that my mind has changed. So this was accumulation of bad decisions, one after the other. These were many multiple decisions. My wife and I got married, we were young, we didn't have much extra, bills were paid, but there wasn't the excess that some of these young folks desire. They have to understand that your parents have worked a long time, have saved, have accumulated, and there's just this mindset of, I wanna make it all now, I wanna have this vacation now. Social media definitely doesn't help with that as well. Anyway, I married a woman from Brazil and her folks live in Brazil, and so to see them, we would travel to Brazil. Airfare was on us when we got there. We were well taken care of by her family, but airfare was on us, and it wasn't cheap to fly. I believe the first trip was paid for in cash by both of us, but I think I went there 4 other additional times, and each additional trip was put on a credit card, meaning that we did not save towards that trip even though we knew it was coming. We just stashed it on the credit card, and what the problem is in most people's minds, including myself, is we'll pay it off later, we'll make more money later, but sometimes it never happens. You have this thought of, oh, I'll be making $100,000, 2-3 years from now. It didn't happen in my case. Everything pretty much stayed constantly the same. I had my own chauffeur company, but I wasn't making much money at all. I was making around $40,000 to $45,000 a year after tax. That wasn't very much money. I'm living in, and we were living in California, so rent is very high as well. I wanted a safe place to live, so bills were high. A lot of our expenses were going towards our apartment and our cars. There wasn't much excess. Bills were paid, thank you Lord for that, but there were literally months where I would side hustle eBay just to make my rent. Okay, so that's how the numbers got crunched up to $20,000, not just by airfare. There was also a time where my wife was out of work, she got laid off, and instead of selling some investments to pay for that, I actually bankrolled that cash advance on a credit card. Terrible idea. And so an additional, I'd say probably $9,000 of that while she was laid off was bankrolled into this 20. So that's how we got to 20. Of course, there were small decisions along the way where you want it now, and instead of saving up for it like we did when we were kids, you just put it on the credit card. You want that trip, you put it on the credit card. So now that we've gotten to that number, let's obviously talk about how we got out of that number, and it's pretty simple. Again, this is where mathematics come into play. Now, as my income went up, and don't be discouraged if your income is not going up. If your income is staying flat or even has gone down a little bit, understand that this day and age with the internet, with all these apps, it is so easy to side hustle. What is a side hustle? These are just some examples of side hustling. Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, eBay, reselling, Amazon FBA. These are all very simple things to jump into and side hustle so that your income can go up. Because what we want to do is we want to continue to pay our bills. And if you're in an expensive apartment, you might have to downgrade. But if you don't want your lifestyle to change at all, then you got to make more money. So you got to side hustle on top of your job just to pay your bills. It's a lot easier if you downgrade from a 2-bedroom to a 1-bedroom if you don't need it. If you get out of your high expensive car payment or lease payment and buy a pre-owned car. Those are really easy ways. But let's say you don't want to change your lifestyle at all and you want it to stay the same apartment, same car. You got to make more money somehow. So you got to start doing a side hustle. Again, my side hustle for those years where it was very lean and there wasn't much excess, eBay. The Lord blessed my eBay sales and it was phenomenal. You're like, how do I do eBay? There's plenty of videos about that, but you just find things at garage sales, thrift stores, Goodwills. I dumpster dive. That's a whole nother channel in the description box below. And if I put a little effort into it, I'm making an extra $1,000 a month just by reselling on eBay. You can do a lot better than that. So with that out of the way, we need to increase our income. If you want to get a second job, go for it. I'm not trying to overwork you. I want you to enjoy life while you're doing this instead of it being like you can't even go to the movies. But if you're going to go to the movies, don't put it on a credit card. If you're going to go out for a nice little dinner, reward yourself for paying off a credit card, definitely do it. But enjoy the process along the way. Don't twiddle your thumbs, sitting inside like a hermit. Go outside and enjoy. But there's so many things to do outside. Hiking, borrow a friend's mountain bike, Frisbee disc golf. These are all very inexpensive or free things to do. Borrow some people's sports equipment and go do these things. You don't have to go to Cabo and go drop $2,000 on a credit card. Anyway, back to the video. So I stopped chauffeuring in 2016, full-time YouTube in 2016. It was very lean, 2016, 2017, and then halfway through 2018, my YouTube videos started going up. My income started going up. Now this is the easy part. Instead of putting more on a credit card, I wasn't buying clothes, I wasn't going on trips I couldn't afford. Now I know some of these numbers are gonna look a little bit larger for you, but again, just take it as with your bills and your income. So my monthly expenses were roughly around $3,500. It might have been a little bit more than that. I was paying a large sum of rent, $2,550 for rent alone, exactly. And then you had your car payment, you had your minimum credit card payments, you had your health insurance, blah, 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 blah. It was kind of nuts, right? So my income started going around $5,000 a month, and it's grown from there, but I'm just gonna work with these numbers. So as you can see, my monthly expenses just to literally live was about $3,500. My income, $5,000, so it's $1,500 different. Alexa, what is 1,500 times 12? Extra $1,500 a month times 12, $18,000. You could knock that out in literally 13 and a half months if you were going at it with $1,500 extra. I started out slow. It took me about, I think, a year and a half, maximum 18 months, I think. But that's with the car, that's with everything, because I really beefed it up as my income went up in 2019. But this is just showing you some mathematics here. So it's very simple. As your income goes up, your lifestyle doesn't go up with your income. See, the problem is I've heard too many stories of job promotion, right? I was just actually playing Frisbee disc golf the other day and I overheard these guys that were in the group in front of me, and he was saying that his friend makes $120,000 a year but is broke. I'm like, how in the world are you broke making $120,000 a year? But it's very simple. When people get a job promotion, instead of staying the same, their lifestyle goes up and then they're right back to paycheck to paycheck. What do you mean, Chris? Well, okay, let's say I got my Fiat 500e out front, my little Matchbox car, right? It's electric. But let's say I say to myself, you know what, Chris? You've done well. Your income has gone up. Why don't you buy that Tesla? Well, could I? Yes. Do I want to? No, not without paying cash for it. So what I mean by that is the person making $80,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck because their bills are super high in California or wherever, and then they got a job promotion, now they're the head of the head of the head of whatever it is, now they're making 120, right? Maybe 100, $20,000 increase, $40,000 increase, whatever that percentage is. The problem is now they're like, oh, I want the Range Rover. so they get their Range Rover. They went from a Honda Accord, which is a beautiful car, don't get me wrong, and then they beefed it up to a Range Rover. So now they just jumped up, including insurance, probably $800 a month, maybe $600 to $800 a month extra on top of that. And then it's like you kind of want to like, oh, you know, hey, I'm making a little bit more money. Let me treat myself, right? Well, the problem with that is that now your lifestyle's gone up, or you moved apartment. You were paying $2,000 a month, now you're paying $3,200 a month, and now you're right back to literally everything coming in is literally going out. There's not any accumulation, there's no savings, there's no excess. Now, during this whole process, I was not living on top ramen and noodles. I was having fantastic cheat day meals on Sundays. I was enjoying life, but I wasn't going crazy overboard or anything like that. I was still going to Colorado about 4 trips a year, flying on Frontier, super cheap by the way. So I was still living a good, resourceful life, but being able to literally shotgun this number down to 0. If you got kids, shop at Goodwill, shop at yard sales. You'll be seriously surprised what I find in the dumpsters. Check out my dumpster diving channel in the description box below. My entire outfit I'm wearing right now, including what you can't see, I literally found in bags next to the dumpsters while dumpster diving. It's awesome. And my generation, I'm 38 years old, we're terrible at this. We want it now. We want fame and fortune now in our 20s, our 30s, not realizing the millionaire next door. Most of my neighbors in this neighborhood right next to me have paid off houses and are millionaires, and their lifestyles literally have been blessed, but they don't rise up like the new money coming into this neighborhood. I'm seeing Range Rovers and probably double mortgages where the millionaire next door is driving an older vehicle and doesn't have the pressure of debt and living a very good life. Let me add that. So my last payment on my credit card was very high. It was like over $4,500. I think it was like $4,700. I literally laid into that debt, wiped it out. It was absolutely fantastic. Cutting in real quick, something that I did forget to mention as well is I no longer put anything on credit cards. I use my debit card for everything. I do a debit PayPal 1% cash back debit card. So anything that I am spending with a debit card. I'm not a very good, you gotta know your strengths and weaknesses, and a weakness I have is accumulating points or airline miles and then paying it off at the end of the month. What I don't like about that is that if something comes up, instead of paying it off, you are going to pay what needs to be paid, medical expense or something like that, God forbid, and you're gonna let the credit cards start waxing themselves and start adding up. After 1 month of interest, those airline miles, those points are invalid. It's just not worth it unless you are diligent paying it off each and every month. That's my weakness. I understand that weakness, and so I don't use credit cards at all. If I'm checking into a hotel, I'll lay the credit card down if they have to have a credit card, and then I will settle up the bill after with my debit card. Now, a little tip of the trick for you, this is a Dave Ramsey tip, is be prepared for things. So I got my $1,000 emergency fund in place before I started tackling the credit cards. That's if your car breaks down, you have that extra $1,000 ready to go for it as you're tackling the credit cards. And then if something, God forbid, happens where you have to spend that emergency fund, then you save up that emergency fund once again and then tackle your credit cards. I could have got out of debt a lot quicker, but I did a little bit different with Dave Ramsey says. I actually invested while I was paying off the credit cards. Then I switched because I was like, you know what, I just want to get out. And then after I was out of my credit card debt, I was like, well, my car payment's only like $170 a month. But then my buddy, Uncle Phil, he's like, just wipe it out. It's gonna be something psychological that's gonna help you out a lot. Pay off your car and see how it feels. So anyway, paid off my car. I owed my cousin some money, paid him off as well. Now I can actually literally tell you, praise God, I'm 100% debt-free, no car payments, no credit cards. I don't owe any money to friends or family. And now I'm in the process of saving up 3 months liquid bills. So God forbid anything happens, I have 3 months liquid ready to go. You do have to change your lifestyle, also meaning that if you're on slickdeals.com and you see that new $800 projector, don't buy it. Be content with what you have or save up and buy pre-owned, but I would definitely tackle this and then make it as a reward. So let's say you have 3 credit cards totaling this. Pay off your smaller ones first. This is a Dave Ramsey method so that you can fill that accomplishment of paying off $1,000 credit card, right? And then you're like, sweet, I did it. awesome. And then go tackle your medium one and then your larger one. Also this year, the government gave us a free $1,200 tax-free, wanting to stimulate the economy. If you need to provide for your family, obviously food and shelter, but please don't go out and jump into a brand new television at Costco. Apply that towards your debt. I actually applied mine towards my tax bill because I lay money aside as a self-entrepreneur. I have to take out my own taxes, and so that money, $1,200, I'm just gonna give right back to the government. So I put that into my savings account for tax time. That's a free $1,200, and God willing, we'll get another one. Apply that towards your debt. Friends of mine that have gotten out of credit card debt, it's phenomenal. They say they are completely blessed with getting out of credit card debt, and it's just something that you don't have to think about every month. Making these high payments, $300, $400. I think mine, just paying us slightly over the minimums, I think mine were $400 to $500 or so per month. And so that's nice to be able to bankroll that into savings and investing. So what I do now, the GoPro Hero 9 just came out. I have the 8 and I paid cash for the 8. I don't need the 9. The 9's great, but my 8 is just fine. I have a Samsung S8 Plus that I'm filming on right now. Do I want the newest and greatest phone or a brand new DSLR camera? Yes, but in due time. I'll save up for it. I'll invest in this channel. I'll get better camera equipment, but I will be paying cash, not putting it on a credit card, even for business expenses as well. I know this is gonna sound tough for you guys. It was for myself as well, getting out of that mindset of I want it now, pulling the trigger and dealing with it later with the psychological factor of I'm gonna make more, because that's not guaranteed. If you do need to make more, side hustle. Go make a couple hundred extra every couple days, delivering for Postmates, Ubering, reselling, eBay the things around your house you haven't touched in forever. Have some garage sales. But guys, the only way this is going to work is taking care of this first, and the way you think about money, the way you spend your money, the way you save your money. Because I've been in the thick of it multiple times, and because I've had many, many years in the past where it was thin and there was no excess, there was strain on my marriage because of it. And let me tell you what, it's definitely a blessing. It's not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed in this world except for salvation in Jesus Christ. But money is not guaranteed. As quickly as it comes in, it can go away. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using the wisdom God's given me to save, invest, because just like any job, even with what I do with YouTube, I don't know how long YouTube is going to be around for. And so if there are changes, I want to be able to pivot and have that freedom to pivot. And it just feels really good being debt-free. I'm gonna be honest with you. And again, do small little rewards. If you're single, married, have small rewards. Make it a goal, write it down. Be like, all right, I wanna side hustle an extra $1,000 a month, and I wanna put that all towards American Express. And then make a few more eBay sales and take your spouse out for a really nice pizza night, celebrating it. It's gonna feel great paying cash for that pizza party as you're rewarding yourself for paying off your credit card. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. There's gonna be more videos like this, talking about savings, emergency fund. If you haven't already checked out Dave Ramsey, check him out. He's definitely a really wise teacher about this. He has a proven track record. Check his videos out, very entertaining as well. So subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy getting out of debt. My name's Chris. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Don't let the party stop, guys. Hit one of these videos, continue to watch, and we'll see you soon.